One of the main reasons you came to GU was to have an opportunity to play in March Madness and make a postseason run, and that opportunity is just a month away. But there's obviously still work to be done with this group with the final stretch of the regular season. Based on your guys' recent games and the time spent in these practices, where's this team at into leaning it into its identity? Because Coach Few has emphasized in the presser how he's had to push you guys into reminding yourselves the identity you possess. And what are some of the controllables on the court that attribute to the identity you guys have?
Yeah, I think Coach Few says, we're always at our best when we're flying around. It looks like we got 6 defenders out there because of how active we are, how we're pressuring the ball, making teams kind of get out of their offense. And I would say our identity is defense and our depth. I feel like throughout the whole season, whether it's non-con, in-con, our defense continues to get us going, and our depth is kind of what, when teams get tired, we have another group of 3 or 4 guys. And obviously, with playing different lineups, a lot of guys have really stepped up in those moments. So I think just continuing to lean on that as our identity is going to serve us well going into March.
And at this point in the season, where does improvement stem from? Does it come more from sharpening the mental edge and the will to play hard, or does it come more so from attacking those details and locking those in the execution that you guys bring out there on the court?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the two, right? Because as you get deeper into the season, like taking care of your body, being able to get up for each game is a little bit different, right? You know, those first couple games, we've been going at it all summer. Everyone's excited across the country to play the first couple games. But as you get deeper into the season, I feel like the better teams are able to maintain their energy, their effort, what their identity is. And then piggybacking off that, kind of like execution is like, because there's such quick turnarounds in league play, so you have to be able to play one team and then play the next one. They may have 2 completely different identities, but the best teams, especially the teams that make those deep runs, are able to have those quick turnarounds and execute the game plan that we got.
Since the Portland game more specifically, I'm sure the messaging from the team, from the staff, from each other was a bit more potent than it would be after a win.
Yep.
Has that messaging from the staff since that changed at all? Or did it kind of go back to remaining consistent to what it was before, and you guys just needed to self-correct and refresh yourself in who you guys are and what you're trying to do here?
Yeah, we always talk about like the standard, and so it's the coach's job to hold us to that standard, right? Like Gonzaga has been one of the best programs in the country, and they built that over the years before we got here. So there's just a certain standard that you have to hold yourselves to, no matter if you're playing the best team in the country or the worst team in the country. We always talk about playing to our standard and not allowing that to waver game to game. So like you said, the coaches have definitely been on us more, but it's been the similar messages, but just preaching like, hey, we've seen this so many times, and like the best teams who make deep runs are continuing to get better in January and February versus kind of up and down and inconsistent. So yeah, it's been the same message, but Coach Few and the staff has done a great job of just continuing to hold us to that standard. And when we fall short of that, they're gonna let us know.
And for you personally, how have you leaned into your strengths as a leader to piggyback off of those messages?
Yeah, just continuing. I feel like with our identity being defense and depth, I feel like I can really help, specifically on the defensive end. I just really love to play defense. I love to be active and do a lot of different things. So the more versatile I can be, it kind of feeds into that depth point, because then we can play a bunch of different lineups. So it's been a challenge to me because I've never played technically the quote-unquote 5 before, right? So that's been a learning curve to me, which also I just embraced because it's a new challenge, right? Like especially at this point in the season, a lot of teams are kind of doing the same thing over and over again. But with injuries and changes, we've kind of had to just adapt and find ways to win. So just really embracing that as me being one of the cornerstones on defense, I've just completely dialed into that side.
And with that adaptability to play that 5, you have a unique perspective on one of the best 5s in the country, in Graham,
right,
and taking him on, I'm sure, in practices. What has impressed you the most about his ability to translate his game in these practices and the work he's putting in onto his consistent team-leading performances day in and day out?
Yeah, no, I think the 2 things that are most impressive probably is just his leadership and his efficiency. Like from the leadership perspective, he's been a really focal point of us, but he kind of understands, right? Like our game has kind of changed with Huff being out at the moment. Like what kind of, okay, put that on my plate. Like I'm here for that. I'm not running away from that responsibilities. He's actually running towards it. So I feel like our whole team has kind of rallied behind, because we've felt like he's been one of the best bigs in the country all season, but look at the last 8 to 10 games, he's been at like a historic historic mark. So just showing up every day and yeah, the efficiency side, like he'll do some really big things for us, scoring, but also on the glass, and he hits his coverages, and it's just like there's not too many mishaps. There's not too many misses. Like he's just very efficient with every opportunity that he takes, and I feel like it kind of, for me, I love it because it just allows us to maximize each possession and kind of stack those 8-0 runs, those 10-0 runs, and then next thing you know, you're playing winning basketball and you're up by a bunch. So yeah, it's just been really impressive to see up close.
And you touched on his leadership, and then you also previously touched on how Coach Few and this program has the Gonzaga standard. You both being seniors have leadership within your own perspectives, but given he's been here for 3 years, his perspective through the experiences he had through the Gonzaga standard maybe a bit stronger. How does he convey what, as a leader, he expects from you guys as a team individually to uphold that Gonzaga standard?
Yeah, no, he just keeps preaching on his experiences, right? Like he's seen a bunch of different teams, a bunch of different results. Like he's had some teams that they've gone on really dominant runs. He's had some teams that he felt like, you know, gave away a couple games that they shouldn't have. So just like he's been really good at being present and not really looking forward, like looking too much ahead, because the season goes quick, right? Like we felt like we were just in the summer. Next thing you know, you're in February. So yeah, just really being grateful for it, and I feel like he does a great job of going out there and really honoring the name on the front of the jersey, and he preaches just about his experiences that he's had since he's been here.
And with BF's injury, he's taken on that extra load of minutes, but also within that opportunity, Davis has stepped into an important role and more minutes. Where have you seen Davis's growth in his gameplay since that Washington State game where he first started to get more involved?
Yeah, no, he's I would say he's been ready, right? I think he's been ready to a certain extent, and he's really just approached every single day, kind of waiting for that opportunity, and in the meantime being a great teammate and just being a sponge, right? He's always around the coaches or around older guys, like you talk about leaders, and just like picking our brains and seeing where he can improve his game. But yeah, I think even since he's been here, he just has a real natural talent of scoring the ball, all three levels, transition. But I think what I'm seeing his growth is just doing it in the flow of offense and the efficiency with his dribbles. Like he came from, in high school, he kind of was relied upon to score 30, 40 points for his high school in ISO situations. So he's really figured out of like, he has the ability to do that, but also within the flow of our offense, just pick spots, whether it's becoming a big time cutter, becoming someone in transition, he's running really hard so he can get an easy dunk or easy layup. Like just the little details that he's found ways to really use his skill set that he has that's unique to him and just flourish with it.
And on the other side of the ball, he's taken jumps in terms of his defensive ability, and you both being similar positions and similar athleticism and capabilities. I'm sure there's, like you said, a sponge, a lot he takes in from you. What have you kind of emphasized to him on that end of the floor for him to grow and continue to add to this team defensively?
Yeah, no, he's really embraced it, and he's been learning at a really high rate, just growing and getting better. I think what me and him talk about kind of is just starting in the right position, so that whether you have to help or something breaks loose, like being able to get there a little bit more efficiency versus, you know, now you got to run to the right position and just being one step behind. And then in terms of like guarding the ball and just being active on steals, I just continue to preach of like his length. And I felt victim to it too. Like sometimes we don't understand how disruptive we can be or how long our arms can be. Like when, you know, you stretch your arms out and you're really active, the offense a lot of times can't see the passes or the people that are open or the possible shots. So I think he's just continuing to learn like how elite he can be with his length on defense, and then using that defense to, you know, generate offense in the other end.
So college basketball media and fans get really roped into trying to predict who will win March Madness before it even happens. And they focus on the quality of conferences, all the analytics, over-analyzing interviews with head coaches. But all this is essentially a mirage to you guys internally discovering the best version of a team that you can be there out on the court. Normal people don't experience this kind of coverage of their day-to-day and their career.
Yeah.
How do you guys, and how do you yourself manage that coverage and the external pressure or expectations put on you and the mentality you approach to handling that to be able to push through it and focus on the internal and you guys becoming the best Zag team possible?
Yeah, no, there's definitely like a lot of external noise, and I feel like you can frame it as pressure, but for me, it's just been really cool to be in an environment, especially Gonzaga, who has such a loyal fan base and such an invested fan base, like where I'll interact with people and you know, like they're telling me different stats or they're telling me about this matchup, like they're all in. And I feel like we feel that not only in the kennel, but just around town. Like this is definitely, I feel like, a basketball city, a basketball town. But yeah, for me, I feel like it just comes down to continuing to, like, why I came here, why I play the game of basketball, and that's to play at a high level and to win. So there is a lot of external pressures, but I feel like it can't be any harder than, you know, the pressure that we put on ourselves on the court. Like, we hold each other to a high standard, and if, you know, your effort isn't there or your voice isn't there, we're gonna let you know about it, each other. So I feel like when we hold ourselves to that Gonzaga standard and the coaches, a lot of external noise, it doesn't put any more pressure on us because just what we do day to day.
And in terms of what you guys are working towards, most of, if not all, the team goals are still in front of you guys. What have been the goals that you guys lean into more on the day-to-day to build towards the opportunities that will come to achieve those team goals when they do become in front of you?
Yeah, just continuing to buy into our identity, just the identity that we've built since the summer, and being grateful for each day. I feel like our coaches do a great job, but specifically our strength coach, TK, he does a great job of not only being a strength coach, but being there almost as a mental coach, a mind coach, really helping us grow our mentality and what it really takes to be a connected team on the court. So if we feel like we are all on the same page, hey, this is our identity, let's continue to take steps forward, but let's also grow our trust with each other, whether it's on the court, off the court, and just, you know, having these different conversations of being vulnerable, being open, so we just know a little bit more about each other, because we have preached, you know, the most connected team is probably the team that's gonna win and the one that plays the hardest. So if we're the most connected and we're playing harder than the other team, we feel like we can beat anybody in the country.
And a part of that team's identity that could be noticed is when you guys do every team break, you guys use dogs.
Yep.
And you're also Zags and you're also Bulldogs, but I'm sure there's intention with using dogs. What is the significance of using that, and what does it mean to be a dog?
Yeah, kind of how we frame it. It's just being a dog is just being like an everyday dude, and it's kind of just built into your instinct to kind of to go be aggressive, to go execute the game plan at a high level, to have just a level of intensity that you just can't teach it, right? It's just innate in you. It's just something that you value at a high level, and just like being a dog to us is just doing the things that other people aren't willing to do, whether it's getting on the floor, whether it's do a really good blocks out, whether it's, you know, get extra shots up, just being able to have the mindset of that we're gonna work harder than people and we're gonna continue to be the most connected, but being aggressive, right? Not waiting for the other team to quote unquote throw the first punch. We want to be the ones who are initiating the action and really giving our best basketball from beginning of the game to the end of it.
Has there been any other mantras that you guys as a collective have leaned into as well, or is dogs or just other things you guys say day to day more so?
No, I think kind of what I said earlier, just like the most connected team, and the hardest playing team is going to win. And then we also say the standard is the standard, right? We try to keep each other accountable to not dip below that standard, whether it's whether it's a rep, it's a day, it's a game. Like if we continue to hold ourselves to that standard, because these coaches have, you know, seen the best of the best, right? And if they feel like we're meeting that standard, we're probably set up to win a lot of games and go on a deep run in March.
And you got to witness kind of what that standard can look like last year when you were part of this team and part of that postseason run to win the WCC tournament. And one of the things that the team brought into the execution of those games and those clutch moments was Zag time.
Yeah.
Is Zag time still something that you guys with this group are leaning into to handle and be prepared for those moments?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We actually call it like a little segment in our practice where we're doing late game execution. Coach Few will throw a random scenario at us, and regardless of the scenario, is Zag time. So we already are trying to execute and play our hardest, but there's a different level of intention and different level of focus that it takes Zag times, because that's when, you know, the most focused and the most connected teams, especially late in games, are normally going to win. So just being able to flip that and kind of imagine ourselves in a high pressure, high level game, you know, 1 or 2 possessions left, and doing whatever it takes to win.
Outside of basketball, you guys have obviously built a strong bond as a collective. You've played on a lot of teams where I'm sure there's been similar bonds built within the team, but what do you love about this group and the bond built off the court that allows you guys to play hard, not just for yourselves, but for each other?
Yeah, no, I love how everyone just brings their own identity to the mix. Like we're all from different places across the world. We've all had different experiences, right? We have guys who've been here for a while, we have guys who've transferred in, we have freshmen. But no one really tries to be anybody else. They show up as them every single day. And it just makes like little stuff like going out to eat or just, walking to class or just seeing each other like in the locker room, just sitting around talking, like it just makes everything more enjoyable because we feel like you're getting to know each other, and it's beyond basketball. And it feels like when you understand your teammates and you have a level of appreciation for who they are, what they come from, like it just makes you want to go have their back even more on the court, right? It's like a brotherhood, which is like a cliche, but we really do feel that to a certain extent because I really like love my guys and I understand like everything it took to be here. So right, I don't want to be the one to let them down whenever we step on that court.
And now with only 2 more games slated to be here in the Kennel, what has this place and community meant to you in your growth as a basketball player and as a man? And what is your message to the fans and the community here in Spokane that ride with this team as the postseason approaches?
Yeah, no, even thinking about only having 2 games is just such a crazy concept. I remember getting here in January just eager to play and just to understand the city and the area and just the fan base that I'm a part of. And honestly, it's been a dream come true. Like I give them so much credit just for how they show up, even for, I remember going to craziness in the Kennel and it being a packed crowd and fans into it. And just like, for me, it's been everything. As a kid, I always dreamed of like playing in a quote unquote college basketball environment, which is a little bit different from high school and different from the NBA. And I feel like this place is like the standard for that. Like this is what it looks like to play in front of fans who are a legit advantage, right? Like I see other teams warming up just mesmerized by our fans, looking at how much energy they bring, how invested they are into it. So yeah, it makes me, I wouldn't say it makes me sad, but I feel like I've been grateful for each moment and I didn't intentionally, I knew that it would never last forever. So I feel like I've really done a great job of just being present in the moment. And even if it's a game that, we may not get up for, it may not be the highlight game of the week, just like really appreciating what this community and these fans bring, because, it's one of a kind, right? And who knows if I'll ever experience that again. So yeah, it's been a magical experience, honestly.